Want to welcome everybody to the BHI Senior Living Aging Unfiltered podcast. Want to welcome Vida Roozen with us today. She is one of our extremely valued partners with Smarter Service. Vida, you want to tell us a little bit about you and what you do for a living?
Hi, Megan. Thanks for having me. I'm Vida Roozen, as you said, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of an organization called the Smarter Service. And we've been working with BHA, almost 2 years now. And all we're doing is helping older adults build their confidence with digital literacy by providing personalized support to them on your campuses. And it's been an absolute blast to spend time with your residents and support your staff. We're starting to do a lot more in helping staff get technology integrated into the community so that, when people need help, they know where to go to get it. And that's us.
So it's been an amazing partnership. We have some campuses that are more tech savvy than others. We have 12 campuses, as you know. Some of them are independent living only. Some of them are everything from memory care and nursing to independent living. So you'll have people who are 55 to 100 and we had one that was 112 that passed away last year. So you have a wide range of people who are very tech savvy to not tech savvy at all. And you have family members who are tech savvy or not tech savvy at all either that are needing support. So when we started talking about how we can better support those living in our communities, coming to visit those in our communities, we quickly decided that we needed to partner with somebody who was a leader in technology and a leader in, not just understanding technology, but understanding seniors and how you can work with seniors and not only empower them to use technology, but empower them to try new things, not just not just trying, using their cell phone or trying email, but what else is out there? How can they, what else can they explore? And I think that it's been really interesting working with you guys. And I know last time you and I spoke, there's some really interesting trends out there about what seniors are doing in technology. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you guys are focusing on as an organization and also what you're seeing out there in the industry.
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, I think you're right. People in general, it's not even an age thing. Like, people are all over the map with how they feel about technology and how they want to use it. I think the dignity with technology comes in when you're able to use it on your own terms. And that means something different for every individual, no matter how old they are. And so, we have people in their late 50s, early 60s are like, I don't want to touch technology. I want nothing to do with it. And then I have people who are, north of 90 that are still trying to figure it out and still trying to incorporate it into their lives. And we're kind of there for all of it. The reality is that we're living in a world where you can't throw a stone without hitting technology. And so being digital literate and being able to navigate the world that's digitizing around you is a necessity for convenience. So using your smartphones and using your smart TVs to imperatives like accessing your healthcare records or making appointments with your doctors. And so it's really important that older adults have a place to go that they can trust to ask the questions that they have about the technology that they want to use. And I think that's what's been wonderful about the journey with BHI is that, bringing this service onto campuses has been all about empowering residents to create their own tech journey, whatever that means to them, and giving them the resources to do that. And so we see older adults using technology all over the map. I mean, obviously, everybody, for the most part, especially 85 and younger, are using smartphones to communicate with their family, to stay in touch with family and friends. And so those devices are very important. Smart TVs, printers are of high use as people reverse nest and they want to tell their family stories and they want to share content and they want to communicate with their grandkids. These are all tools to enable that. And so we really see older adults, as they get past that initial gap, a lot of people will look at our service and say, oh, you're tech support for older adults. And that's partially true. It starts as tech support of, hey, this device doesn't work the way I expect it to, or this isn't working the way I need it to, or it's broken. But as soon as you get them past that initial gap, what we see that's common across the country and all of the communities that we work with is that residents very quickly move from tech support and break fix to learning and discovery once they realize that they can, kind of conquer those annoyances that they've been dealing with a little bit of help and support. And that's probably the most gratifying of all, because technology can be a real enabler for the things that we're passionate about, the things that make us feel like we're part of our communities. One of my favorite stories right now is one of our concierge has a resident that came to her and asked her, my granddaughter wants to get on TikTok, and I want to weigh in on the family conversation. What's TikTok? It really just started there.
I love that.
Yeah, someone who just really wanted to be a part of the family discussion around something that mattered to them as a family, and enabling them to ask questions and get informed so that they could participate. And that's really what it's all about to us, is giving them the confidence to navigate those conversations or those experiences with tech.
I'd be curious to see what her feed looks like in a week or two of what she's probably staying up late watching all kinds of things now.
Oh my gosh. And it's hilarious, again, it's not an age thing. It's, I think, a parent thing, because I've got 20 somethings and they've said the same thing to me. But as soon as we teach them to upload content, we'll get calls from families going, please don't teach my dad to upload. I don't want my pictures from my childhood uploaded. It's hilarious. But, technology and digital environments are part of this culture's language now. And so making sure that older adults can navigate that and connect with younger generations that are in their family or in their communities is really important. And it's a big part of, what we enable for them. But we've got people, so many learners in our universe. And at BHI, I was just watching one of your residents is learning Spanish, and she was introduced by the tech concierge in that community, a tool that she could use to practice her Spanish. And so it says it in English. She gets to repeat it. It listens. It rates her, gives her immediate feedback. And so it's just so cool to see what's possible for them to do and the things that they're passionate about, and letting technology enhance that for them when they want it to. So it's very cool.
Love that. We don't give the individuals living in our communities enough credit sometimes. We forget that some of these people were educators and CEOs and doctors, and the things that they've accomplished in their lives, and they don't want to stop learning. They want to try new things. And I love that we're able to provide them with these opportunities by partnering with Smarter Service to just try new things.
I love that you say that. I think a lot of times as we get older, for some reason, there's an infantilization that happens as people get older, and people start kind of directing them on what they can and can't do, or what they should or shouldn't want, or what have you. And honestly, they're the smartest people in the room. The current funny joke that's going around the concierge community in our company is they tell residents, then they come over to complain about technology. They're like, hey, you started it. We only built on your great thinking. And it's a reminder, that these were our innovators, and they still are our innovators, and they're our thinkers, and they have such a rich history if you take time to talk to them and get to know them. And so the stories, the kind of byproduct of our service, is really cool. And when it starts with how do we use tech, but we get to hear all of these rich stories about how they contributed to the society that we all live in, and the technology that we're building on really did start with this generation, with the televisions and the phones. We just built on their great thinking. And so I love to see our concierge remind them of that. And there's some swagger that goes along with that too when they hear it. They're like, you know what, you're right.
I love that.
I was a part of that. Yeah.
What are some tech trends that you're seeing out there right now in the industry that excite you?
All of the health tech is amazing. The ability to use devices as diagnostic tools in our homes, whether that be commodes, or passive monitoring systems, to monitor your gait and reduce fall risk. And all of those technologies to me are really, really fascinating. And we're at a time where you have more control as an individual over monitoring your health and sharing accurate health information with your healthcare providers than ever before, with smartwatches and rings and all of these different devices that you can have in your orbit to just enhance your personal care. So I'd have to say that that's probably the biggest thing that we're paying really close attention to. We get a lot of questions about. It's another way for families to stay connected and take care of one another. And so we see a lot of adoption kind of growing in that area. But then just all of the device, I mean, what our phones can do for us and with us, but most importantly, knowing how to navigate all of those devices to stay safe is probably the other biggest trend. I mean, fraud is obviously on the rise, unfortunately, and there's a lot of bad characters out there. And so the importance of, understanding how to protect your devices, how to recognize fraud, and that's getting harder every day with AI, is a big part of our conversations and a big part of our enrichment programming that we do in campuses across the country, just to turn up the volume and remind people to double loop the thinking on what they're hearing before kind of falling for any scams that are out there.
Are there any other things that, you shared some things you're excited about, some that are alarming. Is there anything else that's out there right now that you want to share with people, maybe to look for or to be skeptical of, that's in the technology world, or that seniors should be looking out for?
There's technology for everything. And you have to use technology the way it's best going to serve your life and the way you want to use it. And so, doing your homework and asking questions and tapping into resources, if you have access to a tech concierge, that can answer questions for you as you're just navigating how you want to use technology, it's important to be curious and also know you don't have to use everything. You don't have to automate everything. We have a member who recently, she lives independently. She still lives in her own home, and she installed a Ring doorbell, and she just didn't like it. Right? She didn't want to automate that part of her life. Her kids talked her into it, and so we helped her uninstall that and remove it from her home. And so, it's important to know what kind of technology you want to use. And then, from a cautionary standpoint, I mean, I don't. We don't want people walking around afraid of technology, but like anything, if things are too good to be true, if they're seem too easy, if they don't kind of meet the common sense metric, it's important to just pause and really think about how you're approached, whether it be via email or via your phone or by your computer, getting kind of push notifications. Big companies, the Microsofts and the Apples, they're never going to personally call you to tell you that an account is overdrawn or that you have bugs on your computer that need to be addressed. They don't reach out to you that way. They won't text you and tell you that you've got, a $999 computer payment pending for your MacBook. Those are pieces of fraud and scams that are attempting to steal your information. And so it's just important to stay vigilant and aware, not scared, but aware.
What about for senior care organizations like BHI that are considering partnering with an organization like yours, for tech concierge, or to support their residents? What would you say to look for, and what would be the next steps?
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously, I'm a little biased, but it's important, I think, for the people that you work with to be part of your community, and be there in person, build relationships directly with the residents. I think a lot of people try to solve this with technology, and that doesn't always work. Older adults really want, appreciate, and value that one-on-one relationship. And so when you're looking to outsource, or even if you're building your own, building the space to be curious and learn, and let older adults kind of curate the tech story that they want to live is really important. Make sure that when you're building programming that you're balancing it for different modalities of learning. So some people like remote classes, some people like in-person classes, some people like one-on-one visits, some people like quick help, by a tech desk. And so serving those multiple modalities for older adults and letting them get the help that they need, not just to fix things, but to build their digital literacy is really, really critical. And we actually put together on our website at thesmarterservice.com, you can download building your own digital literacy program
Oh,
with
that's
everything
wonderful.
yeah. And it's really just everything that we learned in launching our service, a handful of years ago, and how we navigated that and what we learned from the experience and the importance of these different kind of avenues for older adults getting help to help communities set up and or evaluate their own programming to be helpful because we need it. Everybody needs this service, whether they outsource it or whether they do it themselves.
What a great resource. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Of course.
Is there anything else that you would like the audience to know about technology or seniors or initiatives that you're going to be tackling in 2026?
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. We are really leaning into the learn discovery side of our business. So, like I said, and this is true of BHI too, when we first start working in communities, we see a lot of break fix. This device doesn't work, this is broken, what have you. And as they build their confidence, it very quickly moves from break fix to learn to discovery. And the learning aspect of wow, I finally figured out this phone and I can do this thing. Can it also do this? So that's the learn cycle of what else can my devices do? What else can platforms do for me to live life on my own terms? And then the discovery is, what else is out there that can help me with whatever it is that I'm dealing with? And so we're doing some really interesting piloting this year with another network organization that is matching kind of diagnostic efforts that they have around vision and hearing in partnership with our digital literacy programming so that older adults can touch, feel, and discover technology that may help them with an impairment that they've newly discovered. Let's say it's hearing or vision. They can learn about different ways that technology can support them, whether it be a device, whether it be accessibility settings, what have you. And then if they decide to purchase something, we will help them get it set up and help them learn to use it. So it's really kind of the full cycle of I've had this event, I've had this experience, it's going to change the way that I navigate the world. How can technology help me with a reliable resource to help them use it should they decide to do that? So we're really excited about that. In addition to continuing to grow our service across the country, we're really growing rapidly as the need for resident support and also staff support for implementing technology as it scales in communities and giving them the help that they need in order to use it successfully.
That's incredible. What a wonderful initiative.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So we'll see how it all goes, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, hopefully we can have you on again later in the year so we can hear the success of the program.
Oh, I would love that, Megan. I'd love that. And thank you again. You guys have been just such fabulous partners. I love, BHI is just such a thought forward network in terms of how you think about your responsibility to serving networks or residents. So we feel very, very lucky to be a part of your orbit. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining today and for all you do for us every day.
Of course.
And everybody out there, thank you for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.